the Snake Fighter game. It's like central to this film. That's not a real game, is it?
No, it is not actually a real game. Eric Straupel, my co-producer, co-writer, he came up with the concept for Snake Fighter, and then we kind of worked on it a little bit together. And I hired a local pixel art animator who does some proof of concepts for companies, and then also a local sound designer to do basically like a mock-up of a fake 2D brawler that kind of fits in that like Streets of Rage, Turtles in Time vein.
And then for creating like the box art and that kind of stuff, is that something you had to take care of as well?
Yeah, actually, that is something that I wound up designing. I had a prop designer in town here actually print out the wraparound for the box and actually like make the labels for the cart. But I did all that layout work. Yeah, I consider myself an enthusiast, and I used to make box art for like Dreamcast games and other stuff that I'd released to the community. So yeah, it's something that I have a history with, and it's something I really love doing.
So in the film, you've got, your comedic moments, but then you've also got like this darkness that goes on as the one character kind of descends and, he grows his beard. Is there any inspiration from your own lives or friendships you've had?
I never really had any sort of like catastrophic mental health crises quite like that. But, as someone who's a member of the gaming community, which can be a bit of a dark place. I mean, mental health is just something that's sort of tied with people who feel like they're on the outside and might feel a bit like loners. And I think gaming, because it can be a bit of an insular hobby, brings people in who are maybe going through some stuff. And I think like one of the conversations that we're starting to have in gaming is sort of how it can address the therapeutic and social needs that people just aren't having met in other ways. As a filmmaker and as a gamer, I think it's cool to explore those themes and just sort of let people in the community know that like, hey, it's not weird to talk to your friends and try to find community, and also to like use gaming in healthy ways to cope with the pain of existence, as opposed to just using it as like a pure escape and something that can turn into a harmful addiction.
The word womp. I'd never heard that before. Is that a slang term that I've never heard, or is that created for throwback?
I'm gonna toss this answer over to Eric Straupel, my co-writer, co-producer.
That comes specifically from anybody who grew up watching the cartoon show Recess. Like when I was growing up as a kid, that was something like a lot of people used as well. Of like, this really womps. This is really bad kind of deal.
You won't.
I feel like this is like one of the best love stories I've ever seen between like two friends, like that beautiful platonic love. And I would love to hear in creating this piece if anything in your personal life influenced this idea.
Obviously, I think both Eric and I were drawing a lot of inspiration from our experiences growing up with video games and how it was a great way to bond with friends. And just like, I think everybody has those like sun-drenched memories of playing GoldenEye, like over the summer break or something, and just like how much that stuck with us. And I think that as we got older, it's just sort of harder to like hang out and be in a space with your friends where there's not like a clearly defined schedule of things you must accomplish, and just like that playful sense of joy and how important it is to keep that alive.
A number of my stronger experiences playing video games were enhanced by like a cooperative element to them, like Halo or Metal Slug 3, because I had like a lot of time playing with a friend. I think that was a really strong influence on my thoughts and like where my relationships with those people have gone over time. And you still try to maintain that relationship, but other stuff gets in the way.
You have such cool posters in this film and like such like awesome niche games. Where did you find these? And
that's a great question. So one of my good friends, Cameron McGowan, who's also a filmmaker, he always would tell me that like one of the ways that he would judge a movie is like if they were like shooting a scene in a video store or if they were shooting a scene in a bookstore, he'd know what the filmmaker's tastes were by seeing like the specific books that were referenced in the background, or like the video games or the movies that were on like the Blockbuster shelf in the flashback scene or whatever. And so one of the things that I really tried to do was like, okay, which games from my personal collection can I sort of like sprinkle in this setup, or what posters could I put in the background? And so I talked to my art department and I basically said, okay, these are the games that I really love. I want you guys to like go out on Google image search and I'll give you a budget, and I just want you to print like really beautiful high quality posters from like all of these specific games. And so yeah, it was a very intentional thing to just like sprinkle these little references like through the movie, because like I love games. I've got a huge collection, and it's just something that's like woven into the fabric of my existence. And so, yeah, I'm glad that people picked up on that.